And welcome back to Tacoma, the internet's leading Tacoma talk podcast. I'm your host, Bo Shadows, and we're joined by Brad Shoemaker, as always.
Hello, ahoy.
And we've got a special treat this week. We've got Steve and Karla from the Fullbright company.
Hey.
Makers of Tacoma.
Yeah.
Which happens to be the subject of this podcast.
Yeah, I mean, that's
yeah.
Frankly, like we felt like we kind of had a duty to come on this Tacoma themed podcast because we happen to be making a game called that. So thank you guys for being so generous.
Yeah, it's great to finally get you in and talk about this. So Tacoma, what is that?
It's a game that is not about Tacoma, Washington at all.
Okay.
So if you need us to get off of your Tacoma podcast now, we can do that. Okay. But otherwise, we can talk about
made
this.
A serious mistake.
All right. Is it? Well,
but since we're here.
Okay. Yeah.
Since we're here.
Since we're here, I mean, is it taking inspiration from Tacoma?
There are. Yeah, let's call it Tacoma inspired.
Tacoma inspired Tacoma.
Have you ever been to Tacoma?
I have spent a small amount of time.
Okay.
But it's not a place that I would say that I'm deeply.
So you weren't like going to Tacoma and taking a lot of pictures of buildings and like trees to make sure that every
on this one.
Building and bit of foliage. Exactly right.
Not that kind of game developers.
Okay, not a sweary, deadly premonition sort of situation.
No.
All right.
Instead, we were like, let's put it on a space station. Then we don't even have to go to Tacoma at all.
Did you go to a space station?
We also did not go to a space station.
Wow.
We did actually so Fullbright is in Portland, Oregon, and at the Science Museum there, they have a submarine that you can tour. So we toured the submarine because there's not much that's like
kind of
close to a
I would
space
totally
station.
agree. Did you at any point think about making a submarine-based video game?
We already made a game that was underwater when we worked on the
right.
Bioshock series. So
Yes.
we kind of felt like we did underwater, house. What's above that?
That's right.
Space.
You're just ascending game by game.
Right.
The Frogger 2 methodology of game design.
If you
Frogger
will.
2 3 Deep had underwater and had on land, which was more of a traditional Frogger, and then you could jump on a bird and it would take you into the sky.
Oh, well, that's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, so
Very deep.
I'm putting Frogger 2 on my list for as soon as I get home.
Yeah, good. It's a quality product.
But for now, since we don't have Frogger 2 in front of us, I figure we'll probably play some Tacoma.
Let's take a look at Tacoma.
Tacoma is our next game. Karla and I worked on Gone Home together, and it is a first-person story exploration game. But as noted, it takes place on a space station in the year 2088, and the game is about exploring that space. You've been sent there as a contractor to retrieve the AI that runs the station, and while you're on it, you're interacting with the objects that you find, but also the digital tracking technology on the station to find out more about what happened to the crew.
Okay.
So we're going to turn this on. This is shortly after the intro of the game that we're going to go into the action.
Okay.
Your body positional data has been registered with Tacoma's AR network. Please sign in to confirm.
The eyeball
your
talking to you.
identity.
That's what we all have to ask ourselves every once in a while. So this is the stuff that we're seeing in the world, like Odin, the station AI, the representation of him, and the figure that you were syncing with, and the signs. These are all digital information, augmented reality that is overlaid on the station that you're in. It's also how you interact with the station in a lot of cases. And something that was important to us was that it's a non-physical interface. It's happening kind of in Amy's vision,
Right.
And so we didn't want to have here's a keyboard that she types on, or here's a button that she has to physically touch. It's all about how
coming up with different gestural.
Right. Well, the sign in is literally
sign.
Yeah, like sign language that our animator Noel did research on. But that's been a big part of the development process. Has been figuring out kind of what does augmented reality mean on this high-tech facility. And what is this little guy?
What a good
It's
question.
a cat carrier. Wait.
It is a Romeo. So yeah, Well, so something that's kind of interesting about this is that Brad, you played a very different version of this game.
Yes.
Like almost
Yeah.
2 years ago.
It was like August of
Yeah.
2015,
Of 2015.
somewhere around there?
Yeah.
Yeah, and you guys have effectively completely scuttled and remade the game since then, right?
Yeah.
More or less.
Yeah. Yeah, like I showed up at E3 last year to see it, and your girl was like, hey, this is now a
Yeah, I remember.
completely-
Yeah, E3. You were like, "Come, no, you need to see. It's a very different
It's actually
thing now." So.
So yeah, you know, we maintained a lot of the fictional concepts in terms of Tacoma is still, you know, this small kind of a cargo facility that has 6 crew on it, and you know the crew members.
Where's the achievement?
We don't have Chivos in yet, but you will get a sweet
There will
Chiv
be.
for that one.
So what's the multiplayer like? Are you thinking about an esports angle for Tacoma?
Sorry.
I mean, obviously you've got low grav mode in already.
Yeah.
Right,
yeah.
yeah, and you can't see it, but big head mode is enabled
Oh,
on Amy
fantastic.
right now.
Okay, great.
But so something that is different since you first played it is that, you know, we're in 0G at this point. It's a centrifugal force style station where the middle is 0 gravity, and then out where the crew spends most of their time is a gravitized section that you transfer to. And then also within the whole like augmented reality concept is that the crew uses it to to sort of in the same way that we use, I don't know, cell phones and stuff like that now to communicate with each other and check on information, and that includes Amy, who you're playing as. So at any point you can pull up your personal AR desktop, and we have info about Amy and, you know, her mission and the crew that you can refer to as you're playing. And all of the characters, all of the people on Tacoma would have this kind of as part of their day-to-day life, and so that's more of the aspects of what you're finding out about the characters as you play.
So, you really miss it, huh?
Well, it just seems like it'd be strange being back on Earth already, after only a year up here.
Really? After all I've had to hear from you about the conditions VT has us working under?
Yeah, but there's that, and then there's this. Yeah, I'll miss it.
I can do that too.
I can't blame you.
Whoa, you did do it.
So, whether you're getting renewed or not, did you submit your yearly crew member report?
No.
Yeah, me neither. You know, I think I might go get that done.
Okay, yeah, I probably should too. Oh my god, wait. Is today Obsolescence Day?
Yeah. Didn't Odin give you a job to do?
No.
A computer playing favorites. Oh, well, wonders never cease.
And so as you're going through the station, yeah, there's the concept that a bunch of this data has been lost, and you're able to recover kind of bits and pieces of it. And so, you know, in a scene like that one, it's really just about observing those characters and kind of sharing the space with them and seeing, you know, the kind of interesting aspect of kind of following in their footsteps and having this sort of guide through the environment in some ways.
But also kind of coming with some information about the state of the world and,
Right.
and some of that stuff.
And
as
the
well.
characters themselves,
Yeah.
you know.
But then as we go forward through here, the scenes get more complex, and we'll look at moving kind of through the timeline of them as we play as well.
What's up there?
I mean, a big thing that was important for us was that you can, you know, see where you are in the station very kind of intuitively out the windows at any time, and so we're kind of like, oh, okay, I just went down that big transfer shaft. I guess I came from there. And as you're moving through the different states of gravity and the different parts of the station to like get a feel for the shape of the place that you're in. Because, you know, like when we were doing Bioshock stuff, Rapture is like this amazingly evocative place, but also you never you only see it from the inside.
Right.
Right.
Like it's rare when you get a sense of
Right.
like how big is this thing really?
Yeah. Or
It's
what?
sprawling as heck,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
like it just goes wherever it wants. But
Right.
like our station is, you can understand the scope of it a little better,
Yeah.
and
Right.
so better to let you look at it.
Yeah, I mean, I think that for us, something that was really important was this feeling of, actually being, feeling like you're on a space station.
Right.
So we kind of, it was important for us to say, okay, you need to be able to like see it, basically, you see it from the outside, but from the inside. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Or occasional reminders like, hey, by the way, you're in space.
Right.
Yeah.
You are still in space.
Right.
yeah.
So.
In that original build that I played ages ago, it seemed
Yeah.
like you guys were using gravity as a, if not a puzzle-solving mechanic, at least like a navigation one. Like you're kind of inverting gravity or jumping from surface to surface, going
Yeah.
upside down. Like, is that element still in here, or did you guys kind of move away from that stuff?
No, we kind of broke it into two pieces. Like initially, we had the whole station be 0G, but you had magnetic boots, so you got to stick to surfaces and be on those specific. So it wasn't actually manipulating gravity. I don't think we can do that, but yeah, now we've got a literal 0G where you float, and literal Earth-style gravity via centripetal force, so that each half is clearer and you actually understand each half, as opposed to, oh no, you dropped on the floor.
Settle down, little guy.
It can't.
Anyway.
Whoa.
We have gross drink bags. They wiggle.
Pretty nice.
Yeah, so like you were saying, it used to be this this sort of halfway point of nowhere was gravitized, but everything kind of worked like it was in gravity except for the objects.
Right.
And something that meant was that we couldn't do scenes like this, where it's just like this recognizable kind of dinner table, and you're like, oh, okay, people are
Okay.
sitting
'cause
around.
everything
is
kind
floating
yeah,
all the
Right.
time.
It
Yeah.
had this kind of abstractness to it that being able to say, oh, you're in 0G, then you're in gravity, kind of allowed us to do more with these kinds of relatable scenes. And also I think it says more about that feeling of like, quote unquote, being in space when you can actually float,
Right,
and then
yeah.
and then feel the difference when you're walking.
I just have to say that I'm very impressed that Roberta Williams is still alive. 2088. She's really trucking along.
They've got some of that high longevity technology.
Yeah,
in the year
she's
2088.
she's getting all the teenager blood. Like it's the secret.
Yeah, that's our homage, I guess, to part of our roots. I think that something that's interesting about our games is that we kind of have one foot in System Shock and BioShock and those kinds of first-person exploration games, but the other foot very much in adventure games.
Definitely,
Whether it's LucasArts or Sierra Adventures. So yeah, her name in the fiction is a coincidence, but for us it's a little hat tip.
Sure, cool.
So we're in the middle of one of these. Another AR scene like we saw before, but this one, we can see that there are a number of characters that are all in this space at the same time. And obviously, you can only be in one place at once. But the advantage of this being digital technology is where you can pause at any time, and then we can say, all right, I've observed what they were up to, and I want to see what's happening in this part of the timeline. And so you're moving yourself through the space physically, and observing this side of the other scene while you're kind of in the middle of it. And then you're able to also move the timeline through the chronology of what's happening. And so the game is really about
some old type of AI.
observation of what these objects are here for, what they're saying, what the characters are doing, and adding all that up. But it's also about connecting the dots between the different parts of it as we go. And also, as I noted, the characters, if they were using their personal AR desktop while one of these scenes is being captured, you can recover that and have access to what they were seeing in those moments.
This is what you want.
Okay, so you can get some kind of even deeper access to some lore, some stories.
Yeah.
Space lore.
Yeah.
Cake lore, as the case may be.
Scream about
It's
cake
always
lore,
cake
right?
Yeah.
lore.
But yeah, it's that when we were moving forward from Gone Home, what we wanted to see was like how you can have access to different parts of or different angles into what was going on with these characters, And so these kind of layers of
Right.
what they're doing, what physical objects are in the world, and then also what kind of digital information they were seeing that none of the other characters had access to at the time. It's all the stuff that you're, I guess, kind of building into a full picture of what's going on. Also, you're asking about, if I'm not mistaken, I think it's pronounced esports.
Well, I can
Yeah.
And I will cop to us making probably the most detailed
There are some people
pool simulation that is not an actual pool game.
Whoa.
I don't know. Did you play? There's a game called Duke Nukem 3D. Maybe you've.
I played me some Duke 3D. The first game that I ever made my own FPS levels for was Duke 3D.
to such extent.
And yes,
And now here it is manifesting all these years later.
Oh, you gotta go for. Oh no! Let's say, go for the side pocket.
Nice.
guys are the same way. They're raised
Anyway.
different.
What were we talking about?
Nice.
Cake lore.
Yeah.
Oh,
Cake
right.
lore and unlockable Duke Nukem. There he is.
Look at that guy.
Always bet on Duke.
Do you get along with other AIs?
I have never encountered another AI.
What? How's that?
Each
Chunk.
AI is required to be housed separately from any other AI.
Look at that smug
There you
face.
go.
Get it in there.
All right, you get one more shot, Amy.
The neck is good.
Yeah, but I need one in the middle of the
Right in
forehead.
the nose.
Okay, just a minute.
Okay,
I've
that's
seen
a chin
worse.
shot.
I've seen
That's
worse.
a chin shot. We're good on that one.
Isn't never meeting something else like yourself?
Do you guys, I mean, with scenes this kind of distributed or spread out, do you have
That they have been
like any direction for people that points them at like, okay, here's the one conversation out of these 5 that are going on at the same time that you need to hear to keep up with the story or to like know what you need to do next? Like, is there guidance there?
So I think that, you know, for us, that is really more of a question of we want to give players the tools to get all of the detail from the stuff in the levels as they can. I mean, hopefully, there's nothing that is going to force you, you know, to like push you towards okay, you need to move on now. Like, there's nothing that's like you can get you can find everything if you're interested. And so hopefully we're more in a situation of saying, okay, we can give you access to all of the different angles on what's going on, as opposed to, okay, here's the one thing that you need to see, and if you see that, then you're good. You know, you can.
That's enough.
But I think that part of the way that players are going to orient themselves through these scenes is following characters and seeing kind of the natural points in the scenes where the characters are kind of brought together.
Yeah. And because you
for instance, significant events like these.
Okay, some stuff is hard to miss.
Like, yeah.
Basically
Right.
the idea.
But also, like, you know, there's a finite number of crew members, right? So
Right.
Yeah.
you always kind of know if everyone's in the same place. Like, oh, hey, there's one person missing. Maybe I should see if they're skulking about somewhere.
What the hell
We
is
did not
going
have
on?
the budget for infinite crew members.
What is going on here, you guys?
What a
The
good
fuck is
question.
that?
Oh, man.
Oh my goodness.
Okay, maybe not infinite crew members, but
there's
infinite house.
There's one sweet little
Crisis on
baby.
Infinite House.
So yeah, this part of the story in the game is, you know, about setting up. Like, when you start playing Tacoma, you know that the crew has been evacuated before you arrived. But you're this you know, an independent contractor that's been called in by the company that runs the station. They want their AI back, and they've given you only, you know, like need to know level of information.
Yeah.
And so at this point in the story, we are kind of witnessing the moment that led to whatever resulted in the crew being off station. And so we're kind of
Additionally,
going from the normalcy of, okay, you know, they're throwing a party, whatever,
yeah, hooray.
to like, okay, so some shit went down, and going forward from here is trying to piece together the details of what all led up to this moment and how the crew dealt with it.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I think something that is important about our games is sort of that access to getting a feel for who the characters are, you know, as individuals, as opposed to just like how they are plot relevant. I mean, obviously, you know, our games are story driven. You know, plot is important, but also we wanted to be able to use the AR technology to give you access to kind of these smaller moments with the crew. And so, you know, aside from the central areas of shared spaces, there's also the personal bunks that the crew lived in.
You kind of get a sense for who they are as people and why you might care. An additional layer of caring about what happened.
Right.
Yeah.
And just you know, some of those, I don't know. It's nice as a player, I think. I mean, when I play a game, I like these sort of like quiet moments where you can just sort of like be with the space and be with the characters without feeling like you are sort of driving forward to the next thing all the time.
But then it seems like players would have the option. Like I know sometimes I'll play games and look at everything I can, like every single thing, and then I'll get 2/3 the way through the game, and the main story will have picked up in such a way that I need to know what happened immediately, and suddenly start skipping more and more side stuff. So it seems like that's like giving players the option to where if they value this stuff, it's all right there for them, right? Yeah,
and I think that, you know, with our games, finding all of those details and what they add up to is the game. So hopefully people maintain that motivation to kind of want to find everything, you know, as they go.
And obviously, you know, you'll have achievements and, you know, things like that.
100%.
That's 100, literally 100%. 103, could I get like an inverted space station? Can I unlock that and go back in and play? Is that like a...
Stop spoiling our DLC plans.
Okay, all right. Part of the season pass.
But yeah, so we're gonna come out later this year. We're looking at like the middle of this year on Xbox One and PC.
Yeah. So that's, I mean, like that's you are then getting pretty close at that point.
We are
then, right? That's
not far off.
Yeah. All very exciting.
So then I assume that there's much to be done.
Oh yeah.
Like how is it going? I mean, you know, like I imagine like kind of scuttling large parts of the game and starting over. Like that's it's been pretty busy, I imagine.
Yeah. We added like a year onto our schedule basically versus what we had initially expected. But I mean, it's just one of those things where, you know, like you've played it in multiple versions now, Brad, and we kind of had to get it there to get it here, if you know what I mean. Like we made a version that we were like, okay, we just assume we'll do this and this and this. And we put it on screen and we were like, oh, okay, well, our initial assumptions about a lot of these things aren't really going to be the thing that we think we want to play, you know. And so we're grateful to have the luxury of being able to say, let's give it the time that we think it needs to be something that is like living up to what we think it could be, versus just like, well, I just got to ship this.
Got to get it out by end of fiscal, you guys. Sorry. We're cutting 2 people from your team and need to be out by March 31st. So if you get back to it, that'd be great.
But yeah, so it's been exciting.
Yeah.
But at this point, we are like feeling super close to it being we've both shipped enough games that at some point you're like, oh, this game's almost done.
Yeah, that
just
feeling
kind
of like, we're practically there. I mean, you're able to play it start to finish at this point, I imagine.
Feel it in your bones.
It's like, you know, you place the skeleton, and when the skeleton's there, then you can start fleshing it out, you know. Now that we actually have the entire skeleton instead of like, you know, some of the skeleton. Some ribs, I you know, maybe upside down. But no, it's
it's like at this point, everything's there and we're adding detail and polish, and there's technical stuff we still have to get finished, but like we're sort of like, oh, okay, it's the game.
It makes sense.
Yeah. So what you're saying is that with it not being quite finished yet, there would be time to maybe go back and add actual Tacoma as like a prologue, epilogue, something like that. Like this.
Like present. Okay, so I'm thinking present day Tacoma, full open world city of Tacoma. So a small city.
Have you played Grand Theft Auto Online?
We're a small studio, so it would have to be a small city like Tacoma.
Like Tacoma.
But we want to do a bigger one.
Yeah, but you know, like drivable cars, all that stuff, and get that feel for like I'm on Earth, and then cryogenic frozen. 75 years later, wake up. I'm on a space station. This isn't like that city at all. This is crazy.
What? New Tacoma is way different than old Tacoma. Like I think that's an important thing people need to realize that in the future Tacoma is going to be a completely different place.
Well, and it's something that literally the character you're playing as needs to scream while you're playing, so you get it.
And also, it would probably help if that was like, if maybe you could rescope the character. I'm thinking John Tacoma, and he's a Marine who's been cryogenically frozen because he was the best Marine of Earth's present.
Right.
But then in the future, they're going to need a Marine that was that badass to go into space and kick some. I was going to say alien ass, but like I don't want to like that's up to you what the actual threat is.
We talked about what was. We talked about what was embargoed as far as details go.
Sorry. Okay. Well, we'll cut this part out of the final
I appreciate
version.
That.
We can talk about the Toyota license though, right? Like that part. The Toyotas.
We haven't announced it. I thought that our PR people talked to you.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's
space pickups.
We have a lot of
space trucking
editing to do to this video then before it goes up, I guess. Hopefully, we'll remember to do it, but who can say? Steve and Karla, thanks so much for coming by. Yeah. I'm really looking forward to seeing it all come together. Like, I tend to. Well, so I didn't see the original version, but like hearing it described and this concept of like, okay, you've got these zero-G areas that lead to these kind of gravity areas, and like that just, I see what you're getting at. That seems like it's like way better for the story.
Cool.
For the storytelling, I guess I would say.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, thank you guys for having us on and checking out the game.
Yeah, thanks for coming through.
All right.